reception. The moment the front door was opened, he darted out of his study, rubbing his hands with delight. "How are you, my boy? How are you? How old are you?" said he. "That is, you are not too much tired, I hope, by your journey, to eat your supper?"
"No, thank you, sir," said Master Elliott. "I am pretty well."
"That's a good lad," said Mr. Abney. "And how old are you, my boy?" It seemed a little odd that he should have asked the question twice in the first 2 minutes of their acquaintance.
"I'm 12 years old next birthday, sir," said Stephen.
"And when is your birthday, my dear boy? 11th of September, eh? That's well. That's very well. Nearly a year hence, isn't it? I like to get these things down in my book. Sure it's 12? Certain?"
"Yes, quite sure, sir."
"Well, well, take him to Mrs. Bunch's room, Parks, and let him have his tea, supper, whatever it is." "Yes, sir," answered the staid Mr. Parks, and conducted Stephen to the lower regions. Mrs. Bunch was the most comfortable and human person whom Stephen had as yet met in Assaby. She made him completely at home. They were great friends in a quarter of an hour, and great friends they remained. Mrs. Bunch had been born in the neighbourhood some 55 years before the date of Stephen's arrival, and her residence at the Hall was of 20 years' standing. Consequently, if anyone knew the ins and outs of the house and the district, Mrs. Bunch knew them, and she was by no means disinclined to communicate her information. Certainly, there were plenty of things about the Hall and the Hall gardens which Stephen, who was of an adventurous and inquiring turn, was anxious to have explained to him.
"Who built the temple at the end of the Laurel Walk? Who was the old man whose pictures hung on the staircase, sitting at a table with a skull under his hand?"
These and many similar points were cleared up by the resources of Mrs. Bunch's powerful intellect. There were others, however, of which the explanations furnished were less satisfactory. Chapter 2. One November evening Stephen was sitting by the fire in the housekeeper's room, reflecting on his surroundings.
"Is Mr. Abney a good man, and will he go to heaven?"
he suddenly asked, with the peculiar confidence which children possess in the ability of their elders to settle these questions, the decision of which is believed to be reserved for other tribunals.
"Good? Bless the child," said Mrs. Bunch. "Master's as kind a soul as ever I see. Didn't I never tell you of the little boy as he took in out of the street, as you may say, this 7 years back? And the little girl, 2 years after I first come here? No. Do tell me all about them, Mrs. Bunch, now, this minute."
"Well," said Mrs. Bunch, "the little girl I don't seem to recollect so much about. I know master brought her back with him from his walk one day, and give orders to Mrs. Ellis, as was housekeeper then, as she should be took every care with, and the poor child hadn't no one belonging to her, she told me so her own self, and here she lived with us a matter of 3 weeks it might be, and then, whether she was something of a gypsy in her blood or what not, but one morning she out of her bed afore any of us had opened her eye, and neither track nor yet trace of her have I set eyes on since. Master was wonderful put about, and had all the ponds dragged. But it's my belief she was had away by them gypsies, for there was singing round the house for as much as an hour the night she went, and Parks, he declared as he heard them a-calling in the woods all that afternoon. Dear, dear, a odd child she was, so silent in her ways and all, but I was wonderful taken up with her, so domesticated she was, surprising."
"And what about the little boy?"
said Stephen. "Ah, that poor boy," sighed Mrs. Bunch. "He were a foreigner. Jevony he called hisself, and he come a-tweaking his hurdy-gurdy round and about the drive one winter day, and master had him in that minute, and asked all about where he came from, and how old he was, and how he made his way, and where was his relatives, and all as kind as heart could wish. But it went the same way with him. They're a unruly lot, them foreign nations."